Let's go Broncos! The atmosphere is heating up in Denver, and I've got some serious updates for you, Broncos country. We all know that Sean Payton has one goal: building a championship-caliber roster that can take us straight to the Super Bowl. And one of the biggest talking points right now is Nick Bonitto's future with the team. But before we dive into that, make sure you hit that like button if you've been a Broncos fan for more than 20 years. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you truly bleed orange and blue, drop a comment saying, "Go Broncos! My heart bleeds orange and blue." Now, let's get into the heart of the matter. Nick Bonitto, one of the most promising pass rushers on the roster, is in the middle of contract negotiations with the Denver Broncos. This update comes straight from Bonitto himself during a youth football camp he hosted in Denver. Reporters naturally pressed him on the status of his contract talks, and while Bonitto didn't reveal too many details, he confirmed that discussions are actively ongoing between his agent and the Broncos front office. Bonitto made it clear that his focus isn't on the money right now. His words were all about winning and chasing a championship. He stressed that he's leaving the business side entirely to his agent, staying locked in on his performance on the field. This kind of mindset is exactly what Broncos country loves to see. Bonitto isn't letting negotiations distract him, and that tells you everything you need to know about his mentality heading into this season. Now, as far as timing goes, Bonitto admitted that there's no set deadline for a deal. It could happen tomorrow, or it could take months. But the fact that his camp is already negotiating is a sign that the Broncos see him as a long-term piece of this defense. So, how much could Bonitto's new deal be worth? Well, the edge rusher market just shifted thanks to the Kansas City Chiefs locking up George Karlaftis, a fellow member of Bonitto's 2022 draft class, to a massive 4-year $93 million extension with $62 million guaranteed. That's over $23 million per year, sliding Karlaftis into the top 10 highest paid edge rushers in the league. That contract now sets a benchmark for players like Bonitto. Realistically, Bonitto isn't going to touch the elite numbers we see from TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, or Nick Bosa, but the Broncos are expected to start negotiations around $23 million per year, while Bonitto's camp might push closer to $30 million. The likely outcome? A deal somewhere in the $25-26 million range annually, putting him right alongside players like Brian Burns and Josh Allen. The real question, though, is whether the Broncos should commit that kind of money right now. Some voices around the league suggest waiting to see more consistency from Bonitto, especially considering the depth Denver has at the edge position. But at the same time, Bonitto is entering his athletic prime, and everything we've seen from him so far points to a player who's just scratching the surface of his potential. If the Broncos believe he's the future cornerstone of their pass rush, locking him up sooner rather than later might be the smartest move. Another important factor in all this? Zach Allen. Bonitto and Allen thrive off each other's play, and if the Broncos are serious about extending Bonitto, it's almost certain that Allen will also need to be locked up soon. These two are a package deal in terms of defensive success, and the Broncos know that if one of them is staying long-term, the other should too. And that's exactly where things get even more intriguing, Broncos fans, because timing could be everything here. The Broncos are in a unique position with their salary cap and roster depth, and any decision they make on Bonitto will ripple through the rest of the defense. If they lock him up now, they're betting that his upward trajectory continues and that he becomes one of the elite edge rushers in the NFL over the next few seasons. But if they wait too long and Bonitto explodes statistically this year, his price tag could climb even higher, putting George Payton and Sean Payton in a tight spot when it comes to financial flexibility for future signings. Bonitto's situation is also tied directly to the Broncos' Super Bowl ambitions. This defense has been the backbone of the team in recent years, and Sean Payton knows that keeping the core together is critical. Bonitto's chemistry with Zach Allen isn't just something you can replace by rotating in other players. They complement each other perfectly. Allen collapses the pocket and occupies blockers, while Bonitto uses his speed and athleticism to finish plays. Losing one could seriously impact the production of the other, which is why so many around Broncos country are calling for both to be extended as a package deal. But here's something else to think about. Does Bonitto's current level of production truly justify a top 10 edge rusher contract yet? There are still some who feel he needs to prove he can dominate for an entire season before earning that kind of payday. He's shown flashes of brilliance, but if the Broncos are going to commit $25-26 million per year, they need to be sure he's not just a situational pass rusher but a true every-down threat. If Bonitto takes that next step this season, the Broncos front office might look like geniuses for locking him up early. If not, they risk overpaying for potential rather than proving consistency. And then there's the psychology of it all. Players play differently when their financial future is secured. Some step up and prove they're worth every penny, while others unintentionally take their foot off the gas once they get paid. Sean Payton and defensive coordinator Vance Joseph will have to carefully evaluate not only Benito's talent but his mentality before making that call. At the same time, Broncos fans can't ignore how much Benito has embraced the culture here in Denver, hosting youth football camps, being open with the media, and expressing that his only focus is winning. It's the type of leadership you want in the locker room. Benito is saying all the right things, and that's another reason so many fans are optimistic that paying him now could be the right move. So here's the big picture. The Broncos are actively negotiating, there's momentum building for a deal, and Nick Benito could very well become one of the highest paid players at his position before the season kicks off. But will that decision pay off for the Broncos long term? Or is patience the smarter strategy in a league where cap space can disappear fast if you make the wrong call? I want to hear from you, Broncos country. Should George Payton lock Benito in now and risk paying top dollar for potential? Or should they take their time, evaluate his consistency this season, and maybe pay a higher price later if he proves himself? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and if you love this kind of Broncos coverage, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out the videos on screen right now for even more deep dives into the Broncos offseason moves. Go Broncos! And Broncos country, let's dive even deeper into what this means for the team moving forward, because this decision on Nick Benito could shape the entire future of our defense for years to come. Think about the chain reaction this could set off. If the Broncos commit to Benito with a long-term deal right now, they are essentially planting their flag and saying, "This is our guy. This is the cornerstone of our pass rush." That type of commitment impacts not just the financial side, but also how other players view their own future in Denver. Guys like Baron Browning, who are fighting for snaps and trying to prove they deserve to be part of this long-term vision, will have to elevate their game even more. It also sends a clear message to the locker room. If you perform at a high level, if you dedicate yourself to this team, the Broncos will reward you. That's the kind of culture Sean Payton wants to build, and locking up Benito early could be a statement move. But let's also not ignore the risk. If Benito doesn't take that next leap this season, the Broncos could be tying up a significant portion of their cap space in a player who might never reach the level of a Myles Garrett or even a Max Crosby. That's why some fans argue that patience is key. Waiting until mid-season could give the front office a much clearer picture of whether Benito can sustain elite production over a long stretch. And yes, it could mean paying him a little more later, but at least you'd be paying for proven dominance instead of potential. Sean Payton is no stranger to bold moves, but he's also smart enough to know that one bad contract can set a team back for years, especially with other key players like Zach Allen waiting for their own extensions. Speaking of Allen, his situation can't be ignored in all this. These two are tied together. Extend Benito and you almost have to extend Allen as well, because separating them could disrupt the chemistry that makes this pass rush so dangerous. Imagine investing big money into Benito, only to watch his production dip because Allen isn't there collapsing pockets and freeing him up. That's why some believe the Broncos might try to work out deals for both players around the same time, keeping the core of this defense intact for the foreseeable future. And finally, let's talk about the bigger picture, the Broncos' path to the Super Bowl. The AFC is loaded with elite quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and the only way to compete with those offenses is to have a dominant pass rush. Benito, at his best, is exactly the kind of explosive, game-changing edge rusher who can make life miserable for those superstar QBs. If Sean Payton believes Benito is that guy, then waiting too long could be a mistake. You don't let players with that kind of upside walk away or even get close to free agency. So Broncos country, the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about one player's contract, it's about building a defense that